'Twas right before Christmas, and all through Friendly Ford.
All vehicles are on sale where you pay less and get more. Friendly Ford says yes to your deal, yes to low financing, and yes to zero down to put you into your perfect holiday vehicle for your night on the town. On Mustang, Fusion, Focus, Escape, and EcoSport. On Explorer, Flex, Expedition, Edge, and F-150. Ho, 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 ho.
And I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight,
Merry Christmas to all!
Even the Chevy dealers?
Yes, yes, yes.
The Toyota, Dodge, and Hyundai dealers?
I already told you. Friendly says yes.
And the other Ford dealers?
Friendly Ford says yes to all of them, and to all a good price.
Happy holidays from Friendly Ford. Exit North Decatur from US 95.
Happy holidays! Ho, 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 ho.
Dollar Loan Center has over 50 locations. We're everywhere and normally just around the corner from where you are. Bank-like locations that are staffed with awesome folks who are trained to quickly assist you.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $500 million for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Try going to the bank to borrow $1,800. They have no idea how to help you. At Dollar Loan Center, we can get you out the door in 30 minutes whether you need $200, $2,000, or even $5,000.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications.
Hello, friends. This is Thomas Johnson from Joe's Seafood Prime Steak and Stone Crab. Need a great idea for lunch or dinner? Your best bet is Joe's, one of the most popular dining destinations on the Strip. Joe's provides the ideal setting for private parties with accommodations for up to 150 guests. Stop by to see us at the Forum Shops at Caesars and ask for Thomas Johnson, your maitre d'.
I am hoping that among my Christmas gifts are a couple of gift cards to Joe's. And I know that it is a great Christmas gift. Who is not going to like free food at Joe's? So if you're stuck in somebody you want to impress, business associate, something like that, call 702-792-9222 and get them a Joe's gift card. You can also make reservations for yourself when you call that number. So we have something involving the Miami Dolphins this weekend that is, it's a whole bunch of wins and no losses.
Yeah, that'd be 18 tries with this particular angle from Ralph Michaels, and the Dolphins are 0-18 in these situations as a home favorite off a straight-up loss in which they never led.
Okay.
So last week, they never led at Minnesota, blown out in that ballgame. Now they're home favorites this week, laying 4 to the Jaguars. And this play says this angle says take Jacksonville plus because Miami's 0-18 in this particular role.
And I suspect I'm going to do that not because of the trend, but because I know Jacksonville's terrible, but Miami should be laying 4 to 4.5 or 5, in my opinion.
I'm not playing Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, I think I probably will. My numbers have been doing pretty well, so I'll probably stay with it. We'll see. Anyway. Let's get to some, speaking of NFL, let's focus a little bit on the NFL here. And Patrick Everson, who you can follow on Twitter at @covers_Vegas, you undertook a Super Bowl futures piece this week for Covers.com, and we can talk about that here because it kind of plays into something we want to talk about, which is checking out the, I guess, the opinions and reactions that are out there of what's taken place so far, and how the market has adjusted and what the books think.
Yeah, this is something I worked on with Jeff Stoneback at MGM Sportsbooks. And obviously MGM gets much more public play than than some of these other places.
Sure.
As they dot the Las Vegas Strip. So always check around for your numbers because you may do a little better, maybe do a little worse, but always check your numbers. Talked with Jeff about who the favorites are, the liability, and so forth. Right now, the Saints are the top choice at 2-1 at MGM Books. And Jeff pointed out they love the Saints. At the MGM now has books in Mississippi, and the Saints are getting bet hand over fist. And it's worked out pretty well most of the season for those bettors.
Sure has.
And they're certainly interested in the Saints in the Super Bowl as well.
10-4 against the spread, and one of those losses was rather fluky this past Monday.
Yes.
Or was it Monday? Yeah. Or Sunday.
No, it's Monday night game against the Panthers.
Okay.
You got it.
So, by the way, look, it doesn't mean the same thing is going to happen this year necessarily, but the fact is that since Breeze arrived, they've never lost a home playoff game. That's something that could be a plus for them heading into the playoffs, assuming, Teddy, that they have the home field advantage for the NFC, and it looks like they will.
Of course, that's only happened 5 times.
Right, but that's still 5-0. They've been bad on the road, though.
Yeah, and I mean, the one I always remember is the one that fired through, it felt like 15 picks in that ballgame. It still took them to overtime in New Orleans. But this is not a year where I think any team should be priced at 2-1 to win anything in the NFL.
I agree with that.
There's no favorite. The Saints aren't. I mean, the Saints may be one of. You look to come out of the NFC. The Saints are at home. They're surely going to be tough to beat. But at 2-1, I'll probably look elsewhere with my future.
No, this is like a horse race where there's there's 5 pretty good horses in the field, and they're all in the probably that 4-1 to 6-1 range, and then one of them just gets bet down to 2-1, and that's the one you don't want to bet on because they just shouldn't be 2-1.
Yeah, and I just took a peek at Superbook on the mobile app. I encourage you all to get mobile apps on your phone.
Oh, you've got to have
Superbook's
really
actually
helps.
a little bit tighter, plus 150.
Yeah, they took a ton of liability on New Orleans. They were a very popular betting choice in the future markets for most of October and November.
So what are the Chargers, though? The Chargers, look, I mean, this is where the gamble comes in. But if you're looking for even a mini bargain at this point, doesn't it have to be the Chargers? Because if they win this weekend, well, yeah. But
I'll get to both of those.
I'm looking at it from this standpoint. If the Chargers win this weekend against Baltimore and Kansas City loses on the road to Seattle, which is absolutely a possibility,
they're the number 1 seed.
The Chargers are going to be the number 1 seed. And then you've got some value because they're not priced that way.
No, exactly. They are the co-4th choice at MGM Books at 6-1. And Superbook, you can get them at 7-1 plus 700. So that's certainly interesting. And they're the co-4th choice at MGM with the Patriots in a little bit of unfamiliar territory for the Patriots at 6-1. Not necessarily at 6-1, but as a 4th choice at this stage of the season. That's a little bit unusual. But yeah, I think the Chargers will be a good play. And to Teddy's point about the Indianapolis Colts, I brought it up with Jeff. I'm like, hey, who do you think is a good dark horse? He's like, the Colts. They're 30-1 at MGM Books right now. Going through the list at Superbook, they're 50-1 at the Superbook. And Jeff said we would love to see this if the Colts somehow kept rolling.
Well, the thing is that look, if they get in,
yes,
they've got to. Right then, at that point, you've got a bargain anyway. But beyond that, I think it's fair to say they'd have a good chance to win at least one game. And then you've got a real bargain. If nothing else, you can buy out at that point and make sure that you do no worse than break even.
And, I mean, the thing I like about Indy, what's it take to win in the playoffs? You need a quarterback, you need a defense.
They got both lately.
Exactly.
That defense is shocking to me.
That defense has I'm just going to say this. I am officially a Frank Reich believer.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't – and the Eagles last year, number 1 in the NFL in third down conversions. Frank Reich goes over to Indy. Indy this year, number 1 in the NFL in offensive third down conversion percentage. That's a coach who understands offense and who understands what it means to get a good staff around him. Defensively, that team's been impressive, although Darius Leonard being left out of the Pro Bowl roster. That's a shocker to me. There's been no rookie in the NFL who's been better than Darius Leonard this year. That includes Saquon Barkley.
Leonard's been tremendous. I'm shocked at the Indianapolis defense, to be quite honest, because when I did my preseason stuff, I thought, well, it might take him a little while to get rolling with the rust factor and everything on Andrew Luck. But eventually you got to figure he's going to be good. But I looked at the defense on the Colts, and this is the reason I had them. I didn't have them as a playoff team. I didn't have them close to being a playoff team. Because I looked at that defense, and I actually had it rated as one of my worst defenses in the league. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but it was like 29th or 28th.
It was.
Do
You remember when Sam
really
Darnold
bad
lit him up?
defense. Yes.
I mean, they went into the Jets, and the Jets lit him up. That defense was awful in September.
I don't know how.
Darius Leonard.
Well,
and coaching.
And the defensive coordinator, who, at this point, if you're not looking at him as a head coaching possibility, wow. I mean, that's one of the most amazing transformations I've seen.
And their offensive line wasn't any good on paper either, and Luck wasn't
their
sacked
running
for
game wasn't supposed to be any good.
Well, I mean, I knew that Matt could run the football.
But it wasn't.
There was no line in front of them.
No.
And the line's been tremendous, both run blocking and pass blocking.
I thought they were a below 500 team. I think I projected them at 6-10.
They were lying. They were lying.
Yeah, I didn't bet it because that's about where they were lying. But I'm shocked that they've played this well. Right? I think Reich's the coach of the year. I really do.
He won't win it, though. Nagy will win it, or for Peyton.
The surprising thing is that Reich made one blunder that cost him a game, the overtime.
Sure.
Yes.
But forget about that because he's taken this team farther than I thought was possible.
What about Anthony Lynn as coach of the year?
There's a few guys out there this year. It's a good race.
It is a good race. Agreed.
Nagy will win.
I think Nagy's going to win. Yeah. I
Book it, Dano.
I would go along with that.
Book it, Dano. Very good. Hawaii 5-0. I'll throw a few, just to give you the rundown here real quick. Saints 2-1, as I noted. This is at MGM Books. Again, shop around. Chiefs number 2 choice 7-2. Rams 4-1. Chargers Patriots 6-1. Bears 8-1. Bears, I noted the Saints are MGM's second largest liability on the Super Bowl. The Bears are the most liability. They were quite a long shot going into the season. And again, now down to 8-1. And Chicago teams at MGM Books get tons of action. Yep. Blackhawks, Bulls, Bears, Cubs, they get played. So MGM's got some serious liability to Chicago, and that could get really interesting.
Yeah,
could get interesting.
I just don't look at them as a team that can get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
I just don't trust the offense enough, and that for me is the problem. They're on the way. Okay, I mean they're clearly getting better, and watch out for them next year. They'll be one of the favorites going in because I think they'll pick up some offensive pieces. But they always have to play perfect on defense to make a playoff run, Teddy.
I'm still not convinced that Trubisky's not a stiff. So you say, do they have the defense? Yeah. Do they have the quarterback? No.
And then I'll throw one wild card, real wild card in you for you. And I didn't even know this until Jeff brought it up. No. Cleveland.
Yeah.
They're still, if you look at the scenarios, they're technically still alive. They're going to need a bunch of stuff to happen. But
they need a tie, someone else to tie, don't they?
They probably.
I think they did.
Probably. They've got, but they're not technically eliminated yet, which I think is just amazing at this time of year.
What are they going to set the total on that team next year? They're going to have to be 9.5.
It's
maybe. I mean, I have to see the schedule. It'll depend on what the schedule looks like. But the number that popped into my head when you said that was 8.5.
I think it goes higher than that.
But that, if the seas parted and the skies cleared and there was nobody on the highway, then Cleveland would be a very large loser for MGM Sportsbooks. There's plenty of liability there, and somehow, amazingly, they are in the playoff hunt. They are certainly not among the top 6. I think they're sitting like 9 right now with all sorts
10.
of things that have 10, all sorts of things that would have to happen.
There's so much stuff going on right now. And you've got a lot of stuff at covers.com. So do other people as well. Tell us about that.
Well, first off, you got so many football games. There's no way you can possibly do all the research on this. First off, Covers has got a ton of content. We got great capsules and videos on all the bowl games. Really easy to digest. And then if you don't really have the time for that, but you want to have action, obviously we send you over to Covers Experts, of which Dave and Teddy are both involved with. And we've got a promo going right now. If you use the promo code ESPN Covers, first-time users get 50% off, 50% off. 50% off their first purchase. So check that out just in time for the holidays.
Last team I wanted to ask you about, because you mentioned them, the Cowboys. Where are the Cowboys ranked here?
That's a good question. That was not one of the ones Jeff mentioned among those top 6 or 7, but I can tell you right now, over at the Westgate, our friends at the Superbook, they have the Cowboys at 25-1.
Because if I'm going to play one future right now in the AFC, it'll be Indy, and the NFC is going to be Dallas.
Yeah, I mean there's value there, no question. And you've got Dallas at 25-1, And you got the Colts at 50-1 at the Superbook.
Tonight, it is the Frisco Bowl in Frisco, Texas, not to be confused with San Francisco, California, which some people are